Welcome to yoga. Today I wanted to make a brief video about chaturangas. So first I'm going to demonstrate and sort of explain what a chaturanga, what that posture is, how to perform it properly, and then I want to talk a little bit about alternatives to the chaturanga. One of the things I find a lot on forums and chat rooms and questions that kind of pops up frequently is about discomfort or pain in the wrists, and what are some alternatives when it comes to doing your practice and addressing that pain and that discomfort, finding an alternative for it. So let's get started and let's talk a little bit about chaturangas. So in a chaturanga, you'll usually be up here in a plank posture. So the fingers will be fanned out, the wrists are going to be under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, right? We're in table at the moment. Tuck the toes under and come up into a plank pose, right? Now, to do chaturanga, the first step is to inch the body forward with the toes. As you can see, I'm just really gently with the big toes moving the torso forward. And once you do that, that's when you bend at the elbows and slowly lower down. Now I'm in the correct posture for a cobra because my elbows are bent and they're tucked by my rib cage, and my palms are right under the shoulder heads. And so here I can press up into cobra, right? I'm already here. So chaturangas. Now that we understand what it kind of looks like, how to perform it properly, let's talk a little bit about alternatives to the chaturanga. So one item that I have, let me grab it really quick. One item I have that I like to use are these wrist wraps. I got mine off of Amazon. I know they're not really popular at the moment, but I'm sure you could probably find these at any sporting goods store as well. I've seen them there. And basically it has like a little cutout for the thumb, and then you would just kind of wrap it around the wrist to help support and keep the wrist stabilized through your practice. Now I personally like to have my palm to be in contact with my mat, so that's why I like to wrap it and have it go around the top of my hand rather than underneath. But you should find what works for you and try it out and see if it helps. I find that it does help to keep my wrists stabilized if I'm going to be doing some chaturangas. Another important thing that I feel I would be remiss if I didn't mention it is that so my yoga teacher has been practicing for about 30, she's been teaching for about 30 years. She's probably been practicing for much longer than that. Hello, dear. And one of the things she mentioned to me, we were having a conversation about chaturangas one day. She mentioned that many of her colleagues and people that she kind of came into the yoga scene with are now experiencing like shoulder pains and shoulder issues, and they and she think that might be as a result of doing so many chaturangas when they were much younger, first on the scene. Because I think a lot of these flows and practices, they go through different fads, if you will. There's some postures that become really popular and get put in a practice repeatedly, and at that time chaturangas were really a fad at that time, and so they were incorporated or used quite a bit in the practice. So like I said, One option, option A, is to try to use a wrist stabilizer, like one of these wrist wraps. If you've ever taken a course with me, you'll notice that I tend to incorporate the knees and then chest to the earth. I personally like this the best because the whole point of our yoga practice is to build that longevity. We want to move our joints, move our bodies, move our muscles and our bones, and we want to be able to do it in a way that's safe, but also in a way that we can continue to build on that practice for the rest of our lives. So I'll demonstrate that option to you. So again, we're here in table, the fingers are fanned out, wrists are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. I'm gonna tuck my toes under and come into this plank pose. Sorry, Noodle. So I'm in this plank pose. Again, I'm gonna inch myself forward, then bring my knees, and then lower my chest to the earth. So it's sort of like a half push-up, but again, my body, my alignment is correct. I'm once again in the correct posture to come up into that cobra, right? I personally like this. It takes a lot of the pressure and strain out of the palms and the wrists and the hands. Another option would be to use blocks in your practice. So I'm going to place my blocks at the top of my mat. Okay, and then just want to make sure I have it in the correct place. Okay, so here I am in this table. I'm going to tuck my toes under and come into plank, and then inch forward and slowly lower. See, once again, my elbows are tucked by my rib cage, and my palms are on either side of my chest, underneath the shoulder heads. And I'm ready to come up into that cobra. So see what works for you. As always, you want to make sure you're cleared by any doctor or specialist if you have had an injury. You want to make sure that that has fully healed before you get back into a practice. And I hope one of these options is helpful to you. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm always here to address them. Feel free to reach out. Until we meet again, thanks again, my friends.